Let's talk cages of identity. This is another word that Spirit gave to me. The cages that we are born into and how they limit our really free expression or authentic expression and our ability to self-determine in any meaningful way. And this portion goes right into journal prompt 4, exploring cages of identity. And this is a bigger one because you're going to explore the cage of race, gender, religion, and culture. And those seem to be the big 4. So anything that limits your free expression is a cage of identity. And as a Black woman, I'll focus on those two. All right. As a woman, there are supposed benefits to most of these cages, but there are also downfalls to these cages. And that's what you're going to explore in that journal prompt. So are there benefits to being a woman? Yeah, there's the benefit of like community. There's a benefit of like women and children first. There's a benefit of some other things, right? And that can be culturally significant too. Specific too. But are there pitfalls? Well, yeah. What does it mean to be a Black woman in particular? Because there's intersectionality within those cages, right? But as a woman, and I'm also a Latina, right? So that's a little bit complex for me, but I'm supposed to be of service, right? I'm supposed to be a lady. I'm supposed to show up a certain way. I'm supposed to not talk a certain way, right? All things that seek to cage my free expression. This is the space that you're allowed to take. Anything outside of the space is a problem, right? I've seen this with my race a lot. You know, I am a very free person, and I've had people tell me, oh, you're acting this way, that's white. Or you talk this way, you're not Black enough, or you're not this enough, or you're not Latina enough because I don't perform it the way that they expect me to perform it, right? It's limiting. Now, the benefits of those cages are supposed to be protection, right? Protection just by virtue of belonging, right? I belong within everyone else in that cage, in theory. But what are some of the pitfalls? If there's ever been something that you wanted to do and you said, no, I can't do that because I'm a woman. I can't do that because of my religion. I can't do that because of my culture. I can't do that because of my race. You are stuck in a cage. And what I have found more recently, especially with the trans movement, I really was so excited to see this liberation in our gender expression and gender identity. And I thought we were going to be cage free, and this was going to be some open, expansive field in which we could exist. And what I found was that people just put themselves in smaller cages, and that's not liberation. Some of us don't understand liberation so much that we think that freedom is our right to choose a cage as opposed to our right not to have to exist within any of them. And I'm not telling you not to exist in the cages that you exist in. I'm telling you to make sure that if you exist in them, it is by choice and not force and coercion. I am telling you to reclaim your power in your life and to decide for yourself where you choose to exist and where you choose to break free from. If you are enjoying your cages and they provide comfort for you, then there's nothing wrong with that. There are some people who feel safer under a weighted blanket. They like to be held down. They enjoy restriction. They don't want a wide, expansive field. They want to be told how to move. Those are normally people who don't know themselves as well, but I say none of this with any judgment. Okay, you have to decide for yourself what cages you want to belong in. I learned a long time ago, I'm never going to be well accepted in any Black space because I don't want to perform a certain way to be accepted and included. And for years, I did try, especially as someone who stands in two worlds as a Latina and a Black woman. I was always trying to perform my Hispanic side this way, to perform and it tore me up inside. I just wanted to be. And I've learned that me just being doesn't fit nicely in any cage. Two of the cages that I feel are the most problematic, the hardest to deconstruct from, the hardest to walk out from, the absolute hardest is religion, because the stakes are high. I can decide today I'm no longer a woman and I don't necessarily lose a lot. I can decide today that I'm not going to identify as black anymore. I just am what I am. And I don't necessarily lose a lot. There might be some social approval or disapproval that I have to bump into, but the stakes aren't that high. But with religion, the stakes are very high, right? Right? If I abandon my religion that most of us were born into, that might mean that I burn. That might mean that I suffer. That might mean that I bring suffering onto my family. That can be really scary. And also one of the key features of the cage of most mainstream religion is that I was born broken and worthless, and I need to externalize any notion of my power to an outside God. So my work is all around bringing you into your power. And it can be very confronting to try to claim power for yourself and come to the understanding that it is almost impossible to do that and to still believe that there is a omnipotent God who has supreme power over you, because those start to bump into each other. If he has supreme power, then what power do I really have? If he can do whatever he wants in my life, then what power do I really have? If I am beholden to him, then what power do I have? And again, I'm not telling you what to believe. And however you reconcile this, as long as it's reconciled for you and you are at peace with whatever you come to, then that's beautiful. You know, if you feel more comfortable abdicating power in your own life for an external God, if that gives you peace and comfort, beautiful. If that's a cage you choose with your eyes wide open, beautiful. But if it is a cage that you have been pushed into and the door locked and no one has let you out, and you're waiting for someone to let you out, that's a problem. That's a problem. That cage can be very difficult because I'm broken, I'm worthless, I'm sinful. I need this external thing to validate my worth in this world. Do you see? That can be a very hard thing to walk away from. We don't do a lot about religious deconstruction here beyond looking at the cages, but it is worthwhile for you to really dig into the way that religion has limited you and held you back. All cages have limitations and have promises that they make. The promise of religion is this life thereafter. But are the limitations worth it? That's for you to answer yourself. The other cage of identity that I find it's very hard for people to break out of is the cage of culture. Especially if you come from a high control culture, one that's more focused on concepts of family first, individual last. Duty to family, duty to the collective. You might, even as you're being abused, even as you're being drained, even as you're being actively harmed, still feel obligated to sacrifice yourself for the benefit of the collective. That will make it almost impossible for you to stand in your power and to self-determine, because to self-determine means turning away from the needs of others and prioritizing my own needs in my life. And for a lot of you, that's a very uncomfortable thing. For a lot of you, you might struggle to be outside of those cages. One of the people who I love the most in my life told me she's Haitian. She grew up high control, culturally, religiously, racially, gendered, just high control everywhere. And when she left her home, she said she was looking for someone to tell her what to do. She did not know her own mind. She needed someone to control her for her. So for some of you, you might start to feel your power come to your hands and you might drop it like, no, I don't know what this is. This requires too much of me. This is too much responsibility. I don't want it. That's your choice, okay? But I don't want anyone ever to be a victim of their own choices. So if you choose to take a lesser position in your own life, be prepared for all that comes with it. Okay, you will probably never be fulfilled in any meaningful way. But if it gives you peace and it is your choice, then honor it. The benefits of feeling free internally. This is going to take us right into exercise 5, which is exploring your sense of internal freedom. Let's talk about it. The first thing I want to do is just take you in the jungle, and I just want you to feel something. I know we've already been there, but I just want you to feel it. So go ahead and close your eyes. You are in a dark place. There's nothing in front, there's nothing behind, there's nothing above, there's nothing below. You are floating in nothingness. And now a door has appeared. Please put your hand on the door. Welcome to the jungle, you guys. Welcome to the jungle. Okay. I just want you to sit. I just want you to sit. Okay. Hands receptive on your knees, legs crossed in front of you. Close your eyes. And I just want you to breathe in and relax everything on your body. Everything that has stressed you, let it go. Every worry, every concern, every negative thought you have. In this place, you are perfect. In this place, you are free. In this place, you are safe to just be whatever you are. Feel yourself expand in that place. Feel yourself grow bigger, spread out, get bigger, take more space, take more space. Breathe in, and as you exhale, expand. Feel yourself start to levitate. Feel yourself start to lift off the ground, taking up so much space. Feel your fingers start to dissolve into just particles, your toes, your head start to dissolve down into your neck, your chest bursts and dissolve into a trillion pieces, your stomach, your glutes, your legs, all of it. Now feel that unity with everything around you, completely free, uncaged, unrestricted. Whew. And now open your eyes. It can be hard for a lot of you to even imagine being free. And if you cannot imagine it, you're probably not going to make the choices that align with the freedom that you seek. Okay? Freedom is a frame of mind more than it is anything. And I promise you, if you're not free here, you're not free anywhere. Okay? They have removed the shackles and chains from our arms and legs, and they have placed them on our brain. And that goes for all of us, independent of race, independent of gender. We are all playing a role in a corrupt system that benefits from us not being free and not even having the imagination to daydream about freedom in any true sense. As a matter of fact, when most of us think about freedom, we center money. We center money in our notions of freedom. That's how far from freedom we stand. Right? So I want you to spend time in the jungle. I want you to spend time imagining what it would actually be like to be free of any of your stress, to be free of having to perform, to be free of having to limit yourself in any way, and to be able to show up like your real true self. You know, I want you to also consider this. I might sound hyperbolic when I say this, but I think one of the most evil things that people can do is to try to restrict you here, to try to tell you, oh, you think this way? Nah, you shouldn't think that way. I have a problem with you thinking that way. You need to think the way I think, because that's what suits me more. You want to live your life on your terms? No, you can't do that. You need to live your life on my terms, because that makes me more comfortable. I want you to understand at its root, whether it's religious, whether it's cultural, for whatever reason, people who do that are doing something very oppressive to your spirit and to your free will. They're asking you to abandon yourself in your life, in your mind, and to center them, because it truly, they won't tell you this is why, it makes their life easier, because you are easier to control. If you think like me, if you walk like me, if you talk like me, or the way that serves me, it's easier for me to control you. My comfort is the comfort that is centered, and nobody should have that authority over you or in your life. Nobody. Okay? Nobody. There is nobody. There is no cause so worthy that it would demand that you abandon yourself. None. Okay? So when we're looking at notions of freedom, I want you guys to truly be free. And that freedom begins with ideological freedom. Okay? A lot of you want so much money in your life, but then you don't really believe that you are deserving and or worthy of that money. You're not free to receive the money, so you won't let yourself receive it. It won't happen. A lot of you want freedom that you stand in the way of because of your limiting thoughts, because of your limiting beliefs. This is why I don't focus like a lot on manifestation, right? Because I know that, and a manifestation of anything, because I know that once we clear the blocks, things will naturally flow. I don't need to try to force a flow. I don't need to try to force a connection. That's dangerous. I just need to get everything that's blocking that flow out of my life. That's trauma, that's limiting beliefs. But so many of you are trying to manifest something that looks similar to freedom without clearing everything that has you locked down and bound inside yourself. And then you grow frustrated when you are doing work, but you're not seeing the freedom that you aspire to without understanding that you haven't made yourself free here first. Okay, that has to happen first. And once it does, everything will naturally flow. Everything will naturally flow. So what is the freedom that most spiritual seekers are seeking? It's egoic freedom. You think that you need to make your connection stronger with spirit. Your connection is already fine, right? And you're already plugged in. Now what's blocking that connection? Your trauma, your ego, okay? We're going to talk about ego in depth, but it is your ego that needs the most healing. It is the things you have said to yourself about the things that have happened. I've been hurt. I'm worthless. Nobody loves me. Everybody leaves. I'm not safe in this world. I deserve bad things to happen to myself. Those are the things that have to be healed so that you will allow yourself to receive the freedom that you actually seek. Okay? And freedom is on a spectrum. How free do you want to be? How free do you want to be? Because I promise you, extreme freedom probably means you don't have that many people in your life, right? That's just the truth of it. So maybe I am free in these ways, and in these ways, I'm willing to give up some of my freedom to maintain these relationships. That's a choice that you have to make. That's a very intimate choice that no one can make for you. But the first thing you have to do is start imagining what freedom would even look like for you, and start making freedom choices whenever you have an option to make a choice that leads to freedom. Always. If liberation of spirit and soul is your goal, then you must liberate it at every junction where liberation is an option. You must. All right?